It's Ports a Call waterfront dining, award-winning service and cuisine with a view of the dynamic L.A. harbor from every seat. For reservations and directions, visit portsacalldining.com or call 310-833-3553.
I did this impression of Gene, and people who work with Kiss were always coming to me and saying, hey, I got a story for you, So this guy tells me one day, he goes, hey, I got a story. Maybe you could use this on stage. There's no way I could ever say this story in public. It's such a horrifying story. But he tells me the story that he goes, I've been working with Kiss on and off for about 15 years, right? Well, some time ago, Gene, while we were on tour, actually fucked Miss America while we were on tour. And here's the crazy thing. Did I ever tell you the story?
No.
He said it was the reigning Miss America of that year.
Okay.
And Gene hooked up with her.
Okay.
The next night, Gene hooked up with a whore. A girl that even the guys in the crew were looking at it and going, Jesus, did you see that? That was horrifying. The next night, they have a day off in a town that's so small that the band and the road crew have to stay in the same hotel. And the guy's telling me from his point of view, he goes, I'm in the lobby of the hotel, and he's in the bar of the hotel, and he just happens to look over as Gene is walking through the lobby, dragging this enormous girl with him. Gene gets in the elevator, pushes the button, and then looks at the guy in the bar as the elevator door closes and goes, oh yeah, bing, and then the door's closed. He said, the next day at soundcheck, he sees him and he goes, Gene, and he waves over and he goes, did you have sex with that girl last night? And he goes, of course. And he goes, didn't you have sex with Miss America tonight? And he goes, Steve, listen to me, okay? You can't have filet mignon every night. Sometimes you gotta go to McDonald's. That's like the worst fucking story I've ever heard. I'm like, what kind of fucking philosophy is that?
It's the philosophy of a big.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Oh my God.
I tell that story on the air once, and in Portland, Oregon, and I come back like a year or two later, and they go, "Oh, we got this great story for you. We had Gene Simmons calling, and we played him your story." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, you got to hear it." And they played me the whole audio track of Gene listening while they played the story of me saying what I just said to you, and they end the story, and they go, "What do you think, Gene?" And he goes, "Well, it's true. I mean, come on, you got." And I was like, "Oh, thank God."
He starts to intellectualize.
Yeah, I mean, that guy.
It's a dietary explanation.
I give him a tremendous amount of credit. He has an incredible sense of humor about himself.
Yeah.
He is who he is, but he's able to laugh at himself. But this is kind of unrelated, but another story. A friend of mine called me from a recording studio, and he said, hey, there's a guy here who runs this recording studio and wants to talk to you. Do you mind if I put him on the phone? He's a real cool guy, and he's got a lot of history in the music industry. And I said, yeah, sure. And the guy gets on the phone. Hey, man, I just want to say I listen to you all the time on the Howard Stern show, and I love your impressions. But you're Gene Simmons for me because Gene was the first guy to ever fuck me over in the music industry. And so when I hear your Gene, it brings me back. And I got a story for you. I don't know if you can use it or not, but Gene came to my recording studio years ago, early on, with a band that he was producing, and then for the same amount of money, he wanted to switch into my largest recording studio space for the same amount of money. He just wanted to switch, and he came into the studio and said, "Did you get my message? I want to use Studio A." And I said, "Yeah, I did." And I don't know if you got my message. I called you back and I left you a message, but someone's using Studio A. So I asked them if they would switch, and they said no. And he goes, "Right. Do they know that Gene Simmons from Kiss is here?" And he goes, you know what? If you want to ask them, you can go ask them. I'm not going to ask them again." He goes, "Right. Where's Studio A?" And he goes, "It's down the hall on the right." So Gene gets up, walks down the hall, opens the door to Studio A, and sees the rap group Wu-Tang Clan recording an album, and then slowly closes the door, comes back up to the front and goes, "Right, where's Studio B?" He never even opened his mouth to the fucking Wu-Tang Clan. There's endless stories about the guys.